All right, looks like we're live. Cool. Yeah, so been a while. Um, I don't know whether it's laziness or just being too busy, but I haven't done a stream in quite some time. Um, I've done a little more work on the Deadmau5 course. It's like a little bit more. I completed one more lesson basically, which is lesson 3. I've also done some YouTube tutorials to try and work things out a little bit better. Um, I've got a couple of things to show for it. So what I've done here, let me just open up the last set that I saved. I'll show you. It's basically it's the same. It's the music that Deadmau5 actually uses in lesson 3. So I basically tried to emulate it as closely as I could in terms of the melody, and he tried to he shows you a couple of cool things. So I'll just well, let me go back and just show you. Geez, I still feel like such an amateur when navigating my way around this, learning slowly but surely. Okay, so anyway, here, let's hear it. Right, we'll stop it there. So that's the parts. Those are the bits of the clips that I've moved into this. I forget the different names of these views. This is the arrangement view, I think. Yeah, that's the arrangement view. That's the session view. So what I've got is in these different what are they called? That's a track, and then these are individual clips, I think, if I'm not mistaken. You can basically record from your session view over here right back into your arrangement view over here. So that's what I've done with what you can see over here. But there are other bits that I've gotten here. So just as far as the lesson was concerned, if I remember correctly, it was basically just this one piece here. So I'm just gonna single that out, and I'll just. He explained his process for coming up with a melody, and then that's how he basically starts writing a track. He talked about finding the right chords. So let's see if I can zoom out enough. Yeah. So talking about how what you really want to do is find like the right bass note for each, not bass, is it, you call it or maybe it was a root note for each chord. So the chord will be a combination of three or 4 or so different notes that sound good when you play them together. And with his experience, he just happens to know which notes sound good together, and which chords tend to go well after one another to make a nice melody. So I'm basically just copying exactly the example that he gave here. But yeah, you'll see, for example, that's a chord over there, and you can move it up and down. And you can see the different notes there. So the root note here is F#1, I think. I'm going to embarrass myself if I try to get too technical. But basically, put this melody together, which is something that I copied as closely as I could. And then the other things were, I mean, I put the different bass, I mean the different beats in there. So this, for example, and then this other one over here. But I combined the two together because I liked the way they sounded overlaid on top of one another. The other thing that I looked at was different plugins, right? So in order to get the sound on this, I used a plugin. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. Modal Air or Module Air. It's a free plugin. I'm only experimenting with the free ones for now because I figure I can still make full tracks just using the free ones. What I really want to learn how to do before I spend more money is actually create a track from start to finish. I want to know how to do that before I spend any more money or before I spend too much time fiddling around with the sound. So what I've basically done is gone through the various presets that these guys have. They've got loads of presets built into these plugins that make them sound different. So for example, let's just kick that off. Now if I switch to another one, you can see it sounds quite different. But yeah, this is the one that sounds closest to what Deadmau5 was doing, so that's the one I've ended up using. At the same time, there's another plugin, and it wasn't this one. It was this Locomotive. It's also a free plugin, and I'll show you what that looks like. A lot more basic. So what you didn't see in the Module Air plugin was that you can load it up with all sorts of different controls, because the one that was the few that were loaded up in the configuration that you saw, well, there were only 2 to 3 that were actually in there, but there's like a whole bunch of racks that you can, and I don't know what I'm doing. So rather than focusing my time on trying to learn all the ins and outs of that particular plugin, when I know that it's probably not the best one, I'm just sticking to the basics. So like I said, so I can get a track done from start to finish before I start worrying about that kind of thing. The other thing I decided to do for a similar reason was to try something which to me looked like a much simpler plugin. So over here, let me see if I can get it to play. Yeah. So what I've done on this one is I've essentially taken the same chord progression, I've copied all the same chords across into this new track over here, and I've applied this other plugin as well as an arpeggiator to that clip. So what you can see here, this plugin, it's also free, Locomotive. When I was reading up about it, they were saying it's, you know, I want to say it's like it's I want to say it's like an analog synth style. I probably got that wrong, but essentially it sounds pretty old-fashioned, pretty 80s, and I kind of like that, although it does feel a little bit dated, but at the same time, what I really liked about this synth was that it's just really simple, you know. So I learned about the things like this envelope. So it's ADSR, so that's, what is it, attack, decay, sustain, and release. So attack being the time it takes for the note or the sound to reach its peak volume, I think. Decay being the time it takes for it to reduce down to whatever its sustained volume will become. The sustain being, so it goes. Let me find a picture actually. What is it? ADSR. Okay, so yeah, see, envelope. That's exactly what they were talking about. So pick up a picture. You can see there. All right, that's a better one. So attack. That's right up there. Decay until it reaches what you can see is that sustained. What is that? Amplitude? Yeah. And then release is how long it takes to actually go to nothing at the end. So that's what the controls on this do. So if I were to play this, and let's say I take the release down to 0, you can see that the notes end very quickly. If I were to push this all the way up, you'd hear that they drag out. And they drag out so long, in fact, that they're actually bleeding into the previous note doesn't end before the next one started, So that's no good either. Well, I don't think it sounds good. So somewhere around there is probably good. Likewise with the attack, see, it takes forever to even get up to the volume. It doesn't actually peak before the note ends, right? Before the next note begins. So it would be more noticeable on one that's not got the arpeggiator applied to it. So if I switch that off for a sec, how do I do that? But you can see there is the attack part of the envelope is at its minimum. So as the new note begins, it hits its peak immediately. Right now, if I extend that, you hear how it gradually approaches its peak. Same goes for the decay. So let's bring that down to 0. So now it's starting at its peak. If I bring this to so it kind of hits straight into. So there's no difference between when it peaks and. I think see what happens. Basically, this part, it's the length of time that decline from the peak takes until it gets to that sustained level. And so I like that around there. So this is the sustain, so the sustain. See how it doesn't last as long. Anyway, I liked it up there. And I did like the arpeggiator on this clip in particular. Okay. So let's stop that for now. Right, so yeah, what else can I show you? I mean, I've got another arpeggiator here. I can't remember what it sounds like though. Yeah, so that's the arpeggiator using this other synth. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where you can load up different things, different ways of configuring your sound into these different slots here. So there's all sorts of things that I don't understand or know what they are, but it's just going to take me some time to learn that kind of stuff. I'm having quite a lot of fun doing this, although it feels like I'm making very slow progress. It's still a lot of fun, you know, and it's the kind of thing that I feel as though I'll probably just enjoy doing as a hobby, even if it's not something that I ever intend to make a career out of. It's fun, you know, it's fun just tinkering around, you know. I could imagine that, like, some guys might even spend all their time just fiddling around with these synths, you know. And I mean, you get the guys who build these synths, that's a really cool hobby too, you know. I call it a hobby because, I mean, if they're not charging money for them, I don't know how they're making any money out of it. Who knows, maybe they've got a very clever business model. Maybe the free one is just a hook to get your foot in the door and get you buying something else, who knows. I certainly haven't noticed them trying to sell me anything anyway. Anyway, let me pause that. Yeah, so that's basically where I am at the moment. I've finished the third lesson. I've learned a little bit about these synths, a very small amount about them. I don't really know anything, just enough to get me through the third lesson, basically. You know, what I'll do, maybe demonstrate to you guys, is if I just delete that, I'll show you how I did that, right? So back, let me just bring that back. So just as a reminder, this is the arrangement view over here. So you've got, I need to hit that, don't I? I forgot what that button did, but what it's called. But basically, if you're sitting here in the session view playing around with things, then you hit back here. This okay, it says back to arrangement. Okay, so when you're playing session view clips, this button's going to light up to tell you if you want to go back to the arrangement. You have to hit that. So if we go back to the start, the arrangement view, basically, just as a reminder, because I started out the video with this, but why is it not making a sound now? I think I might know. I'll take that off, perhaps. Let's see. Yeah. It's called the arrangement view because it's exactly that. All of the different clips I've put into a certain arrangement in a certain order, and this is the order that they're playing in. Now in a minute I'll show you how I did this. Anyway, you get the picture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all of that and create it again. So what I've done here, you can see I've made different sections of the track, right? It's only, all of it only really makes up the beginning of a track, and there's not nearly enough to put a full track together using just this, but you can see I've got an intro piece. I'm just going to call it part 2, part 3. The other parts here with the arpeggiators, that reminds me I should rename this one. It's also an how do you spell arpeggiator? 2 G's. Arpeggiator. Cool. Close that. What you can see is, yeah, so I haven't really thought much about what to do with these arpeggiators and how to incorporate them into the arrangement or into the you know, the broader track as a whole. But anyway, I have intro part 1, well, intro parts 1 and parts 2 and 3. So let me show you how I record to the arrangement view. So you first make sure that none of your tracks are armed, right? And then you hit record on the master arrangement record button, it's called, and let's go. You can see there it's recording. The next part has the kick and this melody. You see, I just hit play on this side and it started recording the next bit. Now I'm going to go for the next bit, part 3. Then I will probably end it there. And that's what I've done. So let's zoom in maybe. See, I kind of slightly short, didn't I? I wonder if, no, that bugs me, man. I wonder what I should do to try and get, you know what, see, because I can't just stretch it, right? What would have been better is if I'd actually gone past the line and then I could have just trimmed it afterwards, because I know how to do that. Anyway, you get the point. I still have a lot to learn. You know, the next thing I might like to think about is what I want to do with these arpeggiators. I'd probably go with this one because it sounds more like, well, the synth that I was, or it's the same synth that I was using in the previous piece. So maybe I'll actually restart this last bit here. So let's zoom out. Let's zoom out. Let's do the whole thing again. Do the whole thing again. Stop. Go there. We're gonna go like that. Better play one more time. Because I wasn't concentrating. Okay, here we go. Okay, cool. So you'll see this time I went slightly beyond where I went last time. And in fact, I've gone a little further than I needed to. And there you go. All I need to do is delete it. And that's a lot easier when you're a beginner like me and you don't really know what you're doing. So that's what I've done. And what I'll do, what I think I'll try and work out next is how to incorporate this. And I wonder, in fact, if I should do that. Let's see what this sounds like. It sounds pretty cool. I like how I didn't realize it would actually just okay, so if we go to here, I wonder what will happen if I hit record and then go part 4. Ah, yes, it does exactly what I wanted it to do. Fantastic. I'm not crazy about the last few notes on the arpeggiator. I would actually prefer it if it. You know why I think it's doing that? If I go back to the to this, if we just listen to this on its own. Yeah. What? I'm wondering what's causing it to sound a little bit weird on the last bit. So let's just say if we deleted that, let's hear how it sounds. That's better. See, I just kind of like the way that it bounces back and forth between the three notes. When you got three notes on a chord, previously I had four notes on it, and then I just removed the one, and it sounds like it kind of bounces back and forth a little bit. I don't know, it sounds better. So what I'll do is go with that instead. So let's go back to here, get rid of that. Delete. Okay, and go back here, and nice. You know what the problem is? You can't hear my kick drum, but I think it's recording anyway. You can see it up there. Okay, well, I'll stop it from there. Okay, so what I actually might choose to do, if I go back to here, and I delete those pieces, because it's a little bit longer than it needed to be, what I might do is say, copy that. Did that work? Yeah. And then if I take from there to there and delete that. Why is it not playing? Take that off. Oh. That's a bit shocking to go from that full sound straight into this. See, what I'll probably do then is move that to there, and I also need something. Maybe if I whoop, no, Control Z, Control C, Control V. Let's see see how that sounds. No, let's just hear how it plays out. Maybe that's what I need. So I take this, put that over here. It's not too bad for an amateur. This is a lot of fun, I've got to say. Like, I really enjoy doing this. Alright, cool, you get the picture. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what I've learned since the last time I uploaded, or streamed. And yeah, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. It's keeping me busy on the weeknights mostly, not all weeknights, couple nights a week. Yeah, it's really cool. Squeezing it in before, in between all the other stuff going on in my life. So yeah. I'm having a good time, and I'm going to keep doing this. So that will be it for now. See you next time.